Another professional video. It's not coming down here. Just got back from our book discussion of The Circle Maker this evening. Oh, I'm going to show my crew. Oops, can you turn out your light? I think it's the sun is right here. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, there she is. There's the beagle. There's Gadget up above. There's the beagle. Okay, that's their favorite spot of an evening. Okay. Okay, let there be light. And it didn't happen. Well, go figure. Sherry was talking with me this evening, and we were talking about food because we, before we had the book club meeting, we just have a major pig out. All sorts of good food up there. I'm hoping they post some of those recipes. But anyway, it reminded me in our conversation about food that of a story in Korea. When I was stationed in Korea, I hadn't been to a traditional Korean restaurant. That was I wanted to do that. I wanted to just go out in the regular community, not the base, and not just just outside of our compound, which is generally kind of saturated with American stuff or stuff to cater to GIs. Anyway, I wanted to have a traditional Korean meal. Oh yeah, I'll go ahead. Anyway, let me see. I have to do some editing here. I did not have a professional girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not have a professional girlfriend. A friend of mine, good friend of mine over there named Big Jim, had a professional girlfriend. And her professional girlfriend name was Marie. She was a real nice person, by the way. I should probably tell a little bit about Marie. Out in the village, I was at the Yongsan compound, but out in the village, because of Marie's professional girlfriend status, wasn't uncommon for the villagers to spit on her, saying things to her in Korean that I'm guessing weren't too good. And anyway, I had been out to her place with Jim. And she'd had me out there, and we'd had dinners a couple of times. Very nice lady. And we're having dinner, and every once in a while during the evening, I'd hear this knocking on her door, and she would excuse herself, and she'd go to the door, and I'd hear some conversation, and and then she'd come back to the table. And I didn't think anything about it, the first couple of times, but really in the evening, this went on all evening long. And when she came back, I said, "Well, I'm just curious. I know it's none of my business." I said, "But I'm curious. What's going on?" And she had very good English, by the way, and she and Jim were talking, and it was actually the villagers were coming to her door in the evening. She was essentially the bank of the village, and she would loan them money for whatever it was that they needed, and she saw to their financial needs. And then at night they would come back, and because they didn't want to be seen during the day at her place, they would come back at night, and they would make their loan payments to her. And she was always very cordial, very professional. And I asked her about that. I said, "Well, these are the same people. They're spitting on you during the day, and yet they're borrowing money from you and coming back at night." And she said, "That's just the way it is. That's the way the culture was." And there were a lot of professional girlfriends like herself that essentially they were sending home money to parents. And generally, they would tell them they were hairdressers. But anyway, I had told in one of our meeting evenings, I had indicated that I would like to go to a traditional Korean restaurant and have a traditional sit down Korean meal. And so anyway, we did that, and Marie dressed up in traditional dress, traditional Korean dress, and looked quite pretty. We went into this very nice Korean restaurant. We kind of stood out in the crowd a little bit there. And they didn't see a lot of GIs, but it was a nice restaurant. And anyway, we were just had a smorgasbord of food, and she had handled all the ordering from us because, of course, she spoke Korean. But it was just it was just a great meal with dishes, and I couldn't even tell you what they all were. But they had this one little. I had noticed people eating it. It was like they take a lettuce leaf. This would be the lettuce leaf by hand, okay, and then they take this lettuce leaf and they'd put a little ball of rice in it, and then they would put some kind of condiment or sauce or something on this rice, and then they'd kind of wad up a little ball and pop it into their mouth and eat it like an hors d'oeuvre or something, or eat it along with a meal. So anyway, I had seen a couple at the table next to us, and there was this little bowl in it that had kind of a brown, some kind of vegetable material in there. And what I noticed, they took their lettuce leaf and they would spread this brown paste onto their lettuce leaf, and then they would put in the rice, and then they would wad it up and they'd eat it. Well, I had been trying all sorts of stuff, and it had been quite good. And so anyway, I thought, well, I'll try some of that stuff. And anyway, I reached for this this bowl, and Marie was, no, Sergeant Tom. So what is it? I thought, man, some kind of stuff that didn't go good with GIs. And she said, well, it's like a bean paste. Bean paste, beans, my favorite food. Ask anybody that's ever. Well, anyway, that's another story. I thought, no, bean paste. This is fine. I can handle bean paste. No, Sergeant Tom. So anyway, poo-poo. Okay. Took my lemon, put a spread on a nice big layer of this bean paste, and put my rice in there and watered it all up. Popped it in my mouth and took a bite. I thought, this is nothing. Took another bite. About that third bite, I hit the bean paste. I'm here to tell you that was the nastiest stuff I've ever had in my mouth. I've never eaten a dead roadkill rat, but I got to tell you, if I ever did one, it's going to taste like what was on that lettuce leaf, because it was just ugly, nasty, putrid. Yeah, just imagine some ugly kind of food that's your worst food, and then take it times 10. Well, okay, I got a mouth of this stuff, and I'm in a restaurant. Okay, it's a nice restaurant, and we'd had all sorts of classes on not being the ugly American, not causing any affront to the Korean population, watching hand gestures, watch what we say, So I thought, well, I'm really not wanting to, spit out this big wad of nasty looking stuff here at the restaurant, and so I'm just kind of chewing, looking around, and then I'm not chewing because I don't want to do anything to disturb wherever it's at. So I thought, well, I'll just swallow it, and that'll get it over with. I'll be done. I'll just swallow it. So I thought, yeah, easy, I can work that out. So I tried to swallow it, and I went, it wouldn't go down. I mean, I've not had my body in rebellion like that before, but it was like my stomach was saying, nope, talk to mouth, it's not coming down here, not happening. So I thought, I'm in charge. Try it again. It wouldn't go down. It was like stomach was working in concert with throat, and clamped up, said, not coming. Well, this is getting nastier by the minute. I shouldn't say the minute. It's getting nastier by the second. And something, my eyes are starting to water. Look at the GI crying about his food. That sounded more Italian than Korean. Anyway, I didn't know what to do at this point. I'm looking around, and some kind of message had gone out into the restaurant, because I started looking around, and everybody was watching in that restaurant. It was like, he had the bean paste. Let's watch. And I gave it one last effort. I tried to swallow again, and it was like, whoop, and not happening. So finally, the waiter had been sitting this, and they brought me over a napkin, and so I took the napkin and just kind of wadded it up, and put it off to the side there. And it was like the whole restaurant cracked up at that point. They all started laughing, and then immediately went back to the food, and we had a nice meal. But I just wanted to share that particular story. Now I got to figure out how to stop the darn thing. Come on. Goodbye.